into that. Let's pick this up. All right. Let's check out these fraudsters, right? While Tony Mathis over there might not have a felon, he sure is a corrupt motherfucker. And he's over here hiding assets. So what does it mean? What does it mean? The transfer can be intentional, actual fraud, or result in a debtor receiving less than reasonably equivalent value in return, constructive fraud. The goal is often to prevent creditors from reaching the debtor's assets to satisfy debts. So there's two types, right? There's actual fraud, and this involves a transfer made with the explicit intent to defraud creditors. And then there's constructive fraud. This type doesn't require intent, but occurs when a debtor transfers assets without receiving reasonable equivalent value in return. Would any of you be shocked to find out that Tony's done both? And the lie detector, thank you for being here with us for 6 months. Who would be surprised? Not many, right? Let me guess. Not many of you. Let me take an educated guess here. Hey now, slow down, Pines. Don't jump ahead of me. Nobody? Right? Okay. So it seems like Tony might have been the only smart one that accepted the fact that they actually lost. They lost. Probably because he has experience with 25 other lawsuits, but so he tried to jump ahead of it. So what did Tony do? Tony transfers his house into his wife Dana's parents, which would be Don A. Pritchard. The sellers' names are Tony Mathis and Dana Mathis, and they did a quick claim deed, which is a non-arm's length. I believe non-arm's length means when the buyer and seller have a pre-existing relationship like family, friends, or business partners. That's the definition. Now, give me 1 second. Tony here goes and tries to, he didn't try, he actually did it, but we know it, and we are watching everybody's assets right now. So he sells it for cash on April 7th. April 7th. Well, right here it tells you what the house is valued at, right? The house is valued at a whopping damn near $90,000. $90,000. His house is valued at. So surely he sold it for at least face value, right? At the very minimum, we know Sweet Jones came in with the 701 that at least Tony would have sold this 90,000, 900,000. I'm sorry, what am I saying? 90,000, 900,000. Woo! $900,000 house for at least 700,000, right? 900,000. I'm so sorry. Oh, child, let me. Ooh, need a house for 9,000? Hell yeah, I do. So, yeah, right, you're not going to sell a $900,000 house for well less than it's worth, unless you're trying to commit fraud, which is what Tony did. Tony sold this house for $1. $1. A single dollar. Does that sound or smell like fraud? Put a 1 in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat if you think this would qualify for what we just read as actual and constructive fraud. If you don't think, Tony Mathis, that this is going to go before Judge Eckel and she is going to get you for this, but let me tell you what else we know, because I got an attorney who knows these things. My attorney doesn't just know RICO. He's not just done civil and criminal. He's also very good when it comes to collecting assets. Unlike Joseph Lasniak, my attorney is an actual attorney. So what we can do with Tony's fraud, this is also how you know is facts to consider by the courts. The intent to defraud, whether the transfer was made for a reasonable equivalent value. Well, if the house is worth $900,000 and he sold it for $1, then we know that it was not transferred for a reasonable value. Whether a debtor was insolvent at the time of the transfer, became insolvent as a result of it. whether a transfer is made to a close associate or family member. Right. It's like when a family member sells you a car for $1. He sold a whole ass house. Whether the debtor retained control over the asset post-transfer. Are we to believe, Tony, you're no longer living in that house? This is actual fraud, what he's doing. You brag that you're not a felon, you should be. Because the only reason Tony did this is because he lost the slap. Now, what can be done, the transfer can be reversed. There's a little maneuver my attorney can make. The date of this fraud, glad you asked, because I thought I showed, was on the 7th of April. The 7th of April, 10 days before the judge ruled on the slap, almost immediately after they tried to file their stupid restraining order / gag. Tony just involved, you're right, he involved his in-laws in fraud. Tony is a fraudster through and through. Tony is a religious, in and out of the courtroom, frequent flyer. Tony, what else are you mishandling? What else are you hiding? What are you teaching Seth Rogers, who has all of his money going into his sister's name and his sister-in-law's name? Who's paying the taxes? He did. He involved his in-laws and his parents and his. So not only did this group of frauds, this group of phonies, not only did they file a malicious litigation to my courts, but now they are trying to actively avoid the consequences of the